When our father wasn't home, Evelyn's true colors came out. One afternoon, Amy spilled her juice at the table. It was just an innocent accident, but Evelyn freaked out.
You stupid little brat. Can't you do anything right?
I'm sorry, it was just an accident.
Sorry isn't good enough. Clean it up now, or I'll be forced to make you wish you never had done it.
My chest tightened. I wanted to stand up for Amy, but I was scared. I had always been taught to respect adults, and it felt wrong to talk back or question one. Evelyn was mean, but she was also sneaky. Whenever we had enough of being bullied, we tried to tell Dad, but she'd somehow always convince him that we were exaggerating. Evelyn's cruelty didn't stop there. She'd call us names, hide our toys, and sometimes even deny us meals if we upset her. Once, she locked Amy in the closet for crying too loudly. It was such a small space that she had to stand the entire time. When Dad got home that evening, Amy was too scared to tell him what happened. Hi, my name is Chloe, and this is the story of how my sister Amy and I fought to save our family from a woman who almost tore it apart. It's quite the story, so bear with me. It all started when we were little girls. Our mom passed away when I was 6 and Amy was just 4. She was amazing, and we loved her greatly, but she grew sick out of nowhere. And sadly, her illness progressed quickly, and before we knew it, she was gone. After that, it was just us and our dad, Charles. He did his best to raise us while running his company, but honestly, he was overwhelmed. We loved him so much, but even we could tell he needed help. Between grieving the loss of his wife, growing a massive company, and raising 2 young grieving girls, it was a bit too much for him.
Girls, I love you both more than anything in the world, but I need help. I hope that you two don't mind that I've hired someone to help us out around the house. Her name is Evelyn, and she'll be taking care of you when I'm working.
Do we really need a nanny?
Yes, sweetheart. It'll make things easier for all of us. She will spend lots of time with you two and give you all the attention that you two need that I can't supply.
Well, Dad, if you think it's a good idea, then we'll do our best to make it work. If you chose her, then we're sure that she will work out great. At first, Evelyn seemed great. She was all smiles and kindness when Dad was around. She cooked our meals, helped us with homework, and told Dad how much she adored us. She even would bake all kinds of pies, cookies, and other treats. She really did seem to be a good fit for our family. But that didn't last long. When our father wasn't home, Evelyn's true colors came out. One afternoon, Amy spilled her juice at the table. It was just an innocent accident, but Evelyn freaked out.
You stupid little brat. Can't you do anything right?
I'm sorry, it was just an accident.
Sorry isn't good enough. Clean it up now, or I'll be forced to make you wish you never had done it.
My chest tightened. I wanted to stand up for Amy, but I was scared. I had always been taught to respect adults, and it felt wrong to talk back or question one. Evelyn was mean, but she was also sneaky. Whenever we had enough of being bullied, we tried to tell Dad, but she'd somehow always convince him that we were exaggerating. Evelyn's cruelty didn't stop there. She'd call us names, hide our toys, and sometimes even deny us meals if we upset her. Once, she locked Amy in the closet for crying too loudly. It was such a small space that she had to stand the entire time. When Dad got home that evening, Amy was too scared to tell him what happened. Even though I wasn't the one in the closet, I was just as scared to mention to our father for fear that I would have to spend the next day standing in the closet in the dark.
How are the girls today? Did they give you any trouble?
Oh, they were angels.
I'm glad to hear it.
I wanted to scream the truth, but I knew he wouldn't believe me. Evelyn had him wrapped around her finger. I was terrified that if I did tell him what had actually happened, that she would find some new way of torturing us. She was so sadistic that I wondered just how far her cruelty could go. That's when things got even worse. Evelyn always made a point of making dinner and eating with us, and then spending time talking with our father afterwards. It didn't take long for the two of them to develop a relationship, and the two of them started dating. Amy and I were horrified, but Dad seemed happier than he'd been in years. Then one evening, he dropped a bombshell.
Girls, I have wonderful news. I've proposed to Evelyn and she said yes.
You're marrying her?
I know it's a big change, but she loves us, and I think this will be good for our family. It's been so long since we were a full family.
Amy and I exchanged worried glances. We knew we had to do something or else Evelyn would officially be our mother. There was no telling what would happen if that happened. A few weeks before the wedding, Amy and I were playing in the living room when we overheard Evelyn talking on the phone. She was talking far too loudly, and her voice drifted over to us from the kitchen.
Yes, I'm sending them to that private school. The staff there are even worse than me. Those little brats won't know what hit them. Yes, then I'll have Charles all to myself, and I have no doubt that I'll eventually be able to convince him that they are trouble and not worth keeping around.
Amy and I were terrified. We snuck upstairs to our rooms and spoke quietly to each other.
Did she just say she's sending us away?
Yes, she did. And by the sounds of it, the people she is sending us to are worse than her. We have to stop her. But we need proof.
But how do we stop her?
We thought long and hard and eventually came up with a plan. Amy and I started recording Evelyn whenever Dad wasn't home. We'd hide our phones and provoke her just enough to get her to lose her temper. It, of course, didn't take too long. She had such a very short fuse. The first such incident was when I dropped a plate she handed me. It shattered on the floor and she instantly went into a rage.
You're worthless. No wonder your mother left you.
It was an accident, and it's just a plate. Why would you mention my mother?
Because I have no doubt that she knew that you two were vile pieces of crap, and that she probably died rather than having to live her life knowing she gave birth to such filth.
We caught everything. The name-calling, the threats. We even caught her talking on the phone when she laid out her plan to send us away while talking to one of her other friends. By the time the wedding day arrived, we had more than enough evidence, and we knew that we had her dead to rights. The day of the wedding, the church was packed, and everyone was smiling as the ceremony began. The officiant went through the normal procession, and when he arrived at the time where he asked if anyone objected, Amy and I stood up. We had it all planned out and had even set up everything.
Does anyone have any reason or objection to why these two shouldn't be wed? If so, speak now or forever hold your peace.
We do.
Girls, what are you doing?
You need to see this. It's important, Dad.
We had connected our phones to a projector, and the videos played on a large screen for everyone to see. The room fell silent as Evelyn's true nature was revealed. Gasps echoed as she insulted us, threatened us, and laughed about sending us away. Then when we showed her locking Amy in the closet, people began to murmur angrily.
Oh my God, is this true? Evelyn, can you explain this?
They're lying. They've always hated me.
But the evidence was undeniable. Dad's face hardened. It was rather hard to deny reality when we showed exactly what kind of person she truly was.
You've got to be kidding me. How could they be lying when the footage is right there on the screen? You've been a monster to them this whole time. The wedding is off. Get out of my sight, Evelyn.
You'll regret this.
Evelyn's eyes went wide and her face became bright red as she grabbed a candlestick and rushed towards our dad. Amy and I tried to protect Dad, but Evelyn was strong and she flung us away as she swung the candlestick at our father. Before she could do any real damage, several guests rushed forward, pulling her away as others called for the authorities. The police arrived moments later, but Evelyn heard them coming and managed to flee the church. As she ran into the street, she didn't look where she was going, and she didn't see the bus coming. The impact was violent and horrific. Ambulances showed up and Evelyn was taken to the hospital, but her injuries were too severe, and she didn't survive. Dad was devastated, but also relieved that he finally saw the truth before he had committed to marrying her. And we were grateful that the nightmare was finally over.
I'm so sorry, girls. I should have noticed what was going on. I should have listened to you. I promise I'll never let anything like this happen again.
True to his word, Dad spent more time with us after that. He eventually hired a new nanny, a kind woman named Mrs. Bennett, who treated us with love and respect. For the first time in years, we felt like a real family again. Looking back, I'm grateful that Amy and I stood up for ourselves. We learned that sometimes you have to fight for the people you love, even when it's hard. And as for Evelyn, well, I'll just say this. Karma has a way of catching up with everyone in the end. Thanks for watching.